Well, hey, on today's show, we have a good friend of mine. We're going to talk about movies and our top three. Come on, welcome to the show, Andy Roberts.
Sweet.
All right, cool. We're live. Andy, thank you for joining us today, dude, on the One More Minute podcast, dude.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, for sure, man. Dude, we were just chatting like a lot. We got to a point where we were like, okay, we need to hit record because we need to actually this is good stuff. So you have been like pretty heavy on the movie reviewing lately over the past year, and just like a good hobby of yours, right?
Yeah, it's a huge hobby of mine. I would almost call it a passion. I don't want it to make it sound like it's super non-casual in that way, but it's definitely something that I've taken a little more seriously in the past year or two.
Yeah. Is that something we'll talk about? I want to know a little bit about you too. Then we'll get into some of our favorite movies and all that stuff. But
yeah.
Is it like a hobby that you picked up just from childhood, or were you always really your family really big into movies, or is this just something that's kind of new for you?
I would say taking it this seriously is new as an adult. As a kid, movies were always like a reward for something. Not that it was hey, if you do this, we get to watch a movie. But we would have Friday night movie nights where we'd go rent a movie from Redbox and pick up a Little Caesars pizza or two, and we'd go home at the end of the night, and that was oh man, I can't wait for Friday. We're gonna sit around and watch a movie as a family.
Did you grow up with Redbox, or did you grow up with Blockbuster? Or this tells me how old you are,
I had
too.
a little bit of Blockbuster, but I remember it more for renting video games than I do for renting movies. And then Redbox was when Redbox came out, that was a better deal than Blockbuster. So that's what my family did.
Dude, I remember because I was born in the early 90s. I remember we didn't have, it was not there was a Blockbuster on the other side of town, but we had this place called Movie Gallery.
Okay.
And Movie Gallery was they all kind of dressed in kind of button up shirts and bow ties, and it was kind of fancy look, but it was just the same as Blockbuster. It was you go in there and there's all these DVDs, and
I miss those.
Yeah, I do too, dude.
I collect physical media now and DVDs and Blu-rays, and my whole birthday list is always just the 1,400 movies that Andy wants lately, and so I miss those stuff. Just yesterday for date night, convinced my wife to take me to take her to Salvation Army to go check out the.
Dude, you can probably find some good stuff there.
So, 100%. I just went and rented some 15 different movies from the library. I'm just trying I'm going
dude, I think
spots to try to go find some cool stuff.
It could come back, I feel so much stuff has come back for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah.
I feel there could be I think there is one Blockbuster that still operates. And
it's in Oregon.
Oh, really? It's in Oregon?
It's in
okay.
Oregon.
Yeah. And there's I just feel I could see that maybe in certain cities coming back as nostalgia.
Yeah.
People go to rent movies.
Well, there's certain mom and pop shops that I know them from anywhere from Tampa to Orlando. I know the best mom and pop shops. I got my favorite one in Tampa is this one called Viper Video. And then my favorite one in Orlando is this one called Bright Light Books that has extensive libraries of used
and you can
stuff.
rent them and bring them back?
Well, I buy them.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that they might offer some renting, but generally those are for buying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But a couple of them they'll take in trades, and then you get instant credit and stuff like that. So it's like GameStop or Blockbuster, the same sort of
That's cool,
idea.
dude.
So it's fun.
Yeah. So dude, how did you I guess tell us a little bit about this you getting into this now. I mean, I know we talked about Letterbox being a thing. I actually am very unfamiliar. I've heard about it a lot lately because I think you and our friend Luke too use
Luke's
it as well. But
also active on there.
Yeah, from what I've heard. But tell me a little bit. Explain that to me and for people that are listening. Yeah.
So Letterbox is kind of like a crossover of IMDb and social media. So you'll get on there and you can add friends or not, but you can log or keep a diary of the movies that you watch, give a date, write something a little bit you think about it, give it a 0.5 to 5-star rating, maybe even a like, and if you're really feeling it. And then your friends can see you on there. They'll follow you. And so there's a social media aspect too. So it's fun for discoverability to kind of connect with your friends and see what they're watching lately. It's always a cool talking point for me to see a friend. Oh, you finally saw Sinners. Oh my gosh, what'd you think about it? Or something like that.
Yeah.
And then there's also the aspect on there of a ton of lists. It really goes deep into like cast list and information about a movie, and they'll drop articles, and you can see what's new to streaming on your platforms and notifications about, hey, this is new this month and stuff like that. So it gets deep. If you want it to be, you can make lists, you can keep a diary. I can go back to like 2-3 years ago and see what I was watching, but it's overall just at its core, a really like a hub for
That's cool.
everything movies.
Yeah. Dude, actually, you saying that, I feel like I might try that out, dude.
My please, thing is, I'll follow you.
Yeah, my thing, I've been wanting to, this sounds funny, but like my habit is I'll just rewatch the same shows over and over again. And
that's my
like,
life.
I do love it. I do love my shows because I think they're like, I love, like right now I'm watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
There you go.
And I'll watch The Office and Modern Family. And those are kind of like the sitcom ones, whatever, that I enjoy. But dude, I've seen them. Like
so
just
many times.
so many times, dude. I've seen The Office an ungodly amount of times, for sure.
I believe that.
And I'm like, dude, there's so many great movies out there that I just have completely. Well, one, I've completely missed because I have 2 small kids, and it's mostly
That's
like
part of it too.
Paw Patrol and the Wildcrats at our house. But
we got Bluey or something like that in there.
A little bit of Bluey. They're really into like Discovery Channel, which is actually cool, dude. I've learned so much about animals lately just because my kids love like big. Discovery Channel stuff.
Yeah.
The falcon is the fastest animal in the world. I didn't know that.
And I was so scared. I don't know if it was a falcon or a hawk, but I was walking my dog this morning, and I looked up and I had seen something fall, and there was like, it was a hawk or it was a falcon, like maybe 10 feet above my head, just like looking at my dog. And I'm like, I'm getting
dude, either one.
So I'm
either
scared
one
of,
could snatch
I'm
them
scared
up.
of those big birds.
Yeah.
I told Diana, my wife, I keep referencing my wife. I'm probably going to continue to do that.
Yeah, keep
on
doing
the way
it.
to church this morning. It was probably like this big. I'm like, there's no way that thing can pick up our like 20-pound dog. No,
dude,
no doubt.
Dude, I was driving home today, and a lot of Lakelanders listen to this, so you know, like Hollingsworth. So last night I was running Lake Hollingsworth, and I was like, I think I just saw a bald eagle. And then this morning when I was driving home, I was like, yeah, for sure. It was a bald eagle, like just flying around the lake. It's so patriotic, dude. It just felt good. You know, it was cool. Awesome. Anyways, dude, that's sick, man. Well, hey, so I think we have a little mic situation. There we go. How many movies now have you gone through on Letterboxd?
Oh man, I'm glad you asked, and I've got it pulled up, and I was ready. So I don't go back and retroactively log or rate movies since I started using Letterboxd, just because even if I've seen it before, I haven't made an adult opinion about the movie.
Right,
so
makes sense.
That's just kind of where I'm at. For this year, I'm at 453.
453. Wow.
And that's starting January 1st to what's today?
That's more
21st?
than one movie a day.
More than a movie a day. Sometimes a couple of those in there are counted as short films. So they're like, you know, like 30 minutes or less is like a short film. A feature is, depending on who you ask, somewhere around 60 minutes to longer. But
do you guys have like a movie night, or like you just do this on Saturdays? This is
like Diana and I?
Yeah.
We do. We've got, I try to watch a movie a day myself. Yeah. She doesn't always partake in that. She's more of a show person.
Sure, yeah.
And so she'll kind of be watching whatever's like in right now, and then she'll rewatch her like Modern Family, her Pretty Little Liars, and things like that. Maybe I'm outing her.
No, it's great, but I'm thinking about like I was trying to process if that's crazy or not, like a movie a day.
Oh no, it's crazy.
But honestly though, I don't know, because there's times where I'll watch 2 to 3 episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine or The Office, and adding all those together, it's probably about the size of like length of some of the movies.
And it's not like I'm necessarily doing a movie every day. That's my average. Like there are days where I'll watch if I have nothing else going on, and like my wife's out of town this next weekend, so I'm probably going to log like 6 movies over the weekend when she's gone. And I'll be like, there we go. I'm happy.
What's your like setup? Is there like a snack and like a because you are obviously a movie pro. What is your like professional setup here?
So I've slowly started to gain it over the course of the last couple of years. I've got my physical media. I've got like probably somewhere around 400 to 500 Blu-rays. So I've got a lot of movies. I haven't watched all of them. Some of them are just based on recommendation. I've been trying to get more picky. So I'll typically have my 4K player there. So that's part of it. I've got a 4K TV that's 75 inches.
Okay,
which was like a big investment for me. And actually it was like mostly birthday gift or Christmas gift. It was like a bunch of like,
but you're also not going to do this hobby on like a small TV,
on a small TV, right? So it was like hey, if you guys want to pitch in for my big TV that I'm trying to go for,
that's
it was cool.
Yeah,
and then I've got like a surround sound system that was budget from Walmart or something, but I've had people ask me, bro, my $800 surround sound system is not as good as this. How did you get this? And I'm like,
wow,
Walmart.
Yeah.
So that's basically my setup there. When it comes to the snacks, I'm a popcorn fiend. So when it makes me think of the movies, it's always made me think of the movie theater. And really, it's like a pretty easy snack to like pop, low calorie at home. So it's not
Yeah,
too
exactly.
bad.
It's actually not.
It's not.
There's so much
super-
more worse for you that
There's
you
so
could
much
be
worse
getting
that you
into.
can be
You
doing.
could have
And
bunch
movie
of
theater
crunch every
popcorn-
night.
Yeah, movie
Yeah.
theater popcorn is like loaded up with the butter and stuff. But if you just do like
Yeah.
the microwave stuff at home, it's not so bad.
That's true.
So I don't do that all the time, but
Yeah.
it's probably like my most common. And I'll typically eat dinner while I watch the movie. So it's
Yeah.
just kind of like my snacks it can be really flexible. And I didn't get to finish this off, but like it's not like I'm starting and finishing a movie every night. I've got
okay.
this is my least favorite habit of mine. Is that sometimes it's the end of the day, I haven't watched a movie and I'm like, I should watch a movie. I've got so many things on my watch list. I should get started. And I'll watch like half the movie and then be like this.
Like
And
just,
like I can't stay awake anymore, and I'm like, I gotta go to bed.
yeah.
And so it's whatever time it is, and then I
Is
turn
that
the movie
ever
off and I'll
partially
finish it
on
up
the
another
movie,
day.
or is it just you?
Sometimes it's partially on the movie.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I try to give it some grace with that. I don't watch like something I'm expecting to be really, really great, like this cinematic masterpiece, if I'm not feeling like
100% ready
and alert for it. I'll I'm pre-gaming and all. No, not really. But
Yeah.
I'm getting ready. I'm like pumped. I'm ready to go for stuff like There Will Be Blood, and I'm trying not to watch that.
That's
in
another one
parts,
I haven't
but
seen.
Yeah,
Dude,
to
there's
be
a
fair,
lot of
that is
movies I
one
haven't seen.
that's the one I brought up because that's the one that's been a thorn in my side because it is like a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah.
And I started it and haven't finished it because I've realized I want to go back and do it when I'm fully alert, and so that's the one in my mind that sticks out. But like a 2001 A Space Odyssey, I cannot watch that in parts. I had to sit down and make sure I was like alert and ready to watch that for the first time.
I don't know if I've seen that one either.
That's
dude.
a great one. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I think that there's a lot about that movie that people will not get, and I'm not trying to say that's something.
When
that's
did
like
it come
you have
out?
to be a
It's
certain
not
amount- 68,
Oh,
1968.
okay. Yeah.
But
okay.
it's I think people have very real justifiable gripes with that movie not being as translated well for modern audiences as it would have been for
some stuff
1968.
just doesn't age well.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't. It's not for the most part. It's not like the CG because there's no CG. There's a few sequences in there that don't look necessarily the best, but when you consider it's in '68 and how good it does look, I mean, the lighting is incredible. They've got some things that were very ahead of its time for a sci-fi movie to take itself. It's the first art house sci-fi movie if you really think about it. And so for a sci-fi movie to not be just schlocky or like super campy at that time was a huge deal.
Yeah.
So and Kubrick's amazing. So.
Isn't it crazy how like I remember, so for instance, some of the Star Wars movies being as a kid,
Love 'em.
like I remember watching those and thinking like this is cutting edge. Like,
Yeah.
you know what's funny is I was trying to show my son some of the Star Wars. He's 4. And I'm like, okay, probably the best one that I could show him is number 1.
Yeah.
Number 4, there might be some stuff that he's not really like,
Not gonna pick up on.
yeah, he's not
going
going to pick up on or just not as excited about. But I'm like the Jar Jar Binks, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He'll probably like that with number 1. And that part came up with Jar Jar Binks. And I literally was like, this is so bad. Like
it does not
the
age as well as you
animation
think.
of Jar Jar Binks was so bad. And I'm like, dang, when I was watching it as a kid, or I was probably like middle school or whatever, but I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And now it's like, now that everything's progressed, we look
And
at
it
movies
has.
and you're like, oof.
And I'll say there are some moments in the prequels that they age really well with their CG. A lot better than movies around that time if you look at its competitors that they do.
Yeah.
But even if you look at 99 with The Phantom Menace versus 2005 with Revenge of the Sith, it's a stark difference.
Yeah.
But that's funny you bring that up. I was a kid so much of a Star Wars fan that when I got in trouble, I got grounded from Star Wars. So that's where I was. If you think about how deep my love for movies is, I've always been really like hardcore into something. If I'm into it, I'm into it.
Yeah.
And so that was my thing as a kid. And I watched nobody told me because I didn't know that the prequels came out like 20, 30 years after the originals. And so I just assumed they came out in release order and I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So it says a lot about how the old ones age. They would have been the remastered versions that I would have seen too. That probably helps
for
a
sure.
little bit.
Yeah.
But versus how the prequels and stuff looked, I didn't know any difference when I was a kid, which is partly me being a kid.
What year were you born?
2000.
2000. Okay.
So yeah.
What's crazy is, dude, I mean, I was born in 92. It's a little different or whatever. Obviously it was 8 years in between there, but like I was aware enough to remember when did number 1 come out?
99.
99. Okay. Yeah. What was I? I was like, 7, whatever. So I was 7 years old, but I do remember going to the movies and seeing it with my dad. And I remember it being like this special thing because it's like they were back. Like that was, I feel like I remember that in my mind as being, oh, like these movies are back.
There's a documentary that's like one of my favorite documentaries ever about the production, the hype, the build up, the release, George Lucas's like Yes Men and all these things about episode 1 that I have to recommend. I have to recommend. I mean, this is not where I thought this podcast was going to go.
Let's talk about it.
Recommending this, but it's really great. I mean, it talks about the production issues. It talks about how much of a big budget that was, especially for the time, and how crazy it was. I mean, there was till like weeks till it was released. There were last minute changes George Lucas was doing that you're looking at it like, what? Everybody is everybody that's around him, like behind closed doors, are like, yeah, we trust George on this. Like, we're not sure about this. Like, I don't know if I agree with this, but we trust George. And then obviously it's very divisive when it came out. Yeah. And it's still, it still did really well and did all these things, but it's very good at it. I mean, it's shot well and it's technically speaking like a really, really well done documentary, but it's also showing a little bit of the behind the scenes of how George Lucas shouldn't have had. Not saying he shouldn't have had artistic liberty, because I think especially now.
But maybe too much.
But maybe he had a little bit too much.
Yeah. What's interesting, dude, is I remember, because I was 7 when it came out. Yeah. Like, in a movie like that, I was like, it was fine. You know what I mean? I'm not very judgy. Exactly. At 7 years old, I'm like, this was fun. And then now watching it back with my son, I was like, oh, okay. There's some stuff that I'm like, I wish never, the whole like, the whole Jar Jar, I mean, obviously everybody says that, but the whole like even Naboo scene where they go underwater and they do all that, I was like, God, I can't wait for this to get done with.
There are some moments in there that don't age super well, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull up, see if I can find the.
No, you're good. Well, while you're doing that too, I remember my wife was, because Madeline, I don't think she's really seen a lot of the Star Wars movies. Maybe she's seen bits and pieces of them, but she was watching that one, and I'm trying to explain to her like who like Padme is and who Princess Amidala and all that. And I'm realizing it's like they didn't really tee it up all that well of like the difference there. Like you have to like, you kind of like later in the movie, you're like, oh, okay, she was being this person. But like you didn't realize it for a really long time of the movie.
It's not introduced super well. And like you said, unless you kind of go in, and it's different for me now because I'm never going to be able to watch that for the first time with a fresh lens. I'm always going to know. But like you don't know that. Spoiler alert for a movie that's 20 years old, 25 years old, is that you don't know that she's not really who she is in the movie until the very end. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't know that that's not Padme. Unless you have a really astute eye, you don't realize that. It's called The Beginning, Making Episode 1.
Oh, okay.
And it's from 2001, actually. It's, directed by John
Wow,
Shank.
It was quickly after.
It was quickly after that they made it. But it's a really cool documentary. 66 minutes, not that long. Instead of watching your 2 episodes or 3 episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, maybe.
Dude, I need to. I'm really thinking about that even tonight. Like, it's tough because it is football season.
It is.
And so, like, juggling that between that and movies. But I've actually been thinking about that lately, too, because I'm like, I can almost quote all these shows back to back. And I'd rather, like, because there's movies, like, I know that you mentioned that earlier, like Sinners and movies like that. Like, I just have not seen. Yeah. And some of it's, like, got a lot going on, but also it's just like I'm watching the same old thing every night.
And the cool thing too is you had back in the day, if we're talking Blockbuster, you would have to wait a year or maybe even longer for a movie to come out on home video to be able to rent it and see it. Yeah. These movies are out within like 8 weeks of theater release for you to stream them for free.
That is the crazy most of these,
part, which is insane.
There's a lot less anticipation on like
there's a lot less build up thing I can tangent on, but that's I mean, gosh, it's. People wonder why theaters are having a tough time today, and I do want to say, if I'm going to say anything that's like promoting as the movie guy, go support your local theaters, not just your AMC's. Obviously, go support AMC and Cinemark and CMX and stuff like that. Even though the one in town's not very great in my opinion. But these local theaters, I mean, if you're in Central Florida, go support the Tampa Theater, go support the Enzian, go support the Polk Theater, go to the Drive-In, go to Silver Moon. Like these places are awesome, and they need to stick around.
It's also the way the movies, like for the most part, and obviously movies are being made different today. I recognize that. But for the most part, movies are made for that experience.
They are made for the theater, yeah.
And I wonder if, it's interesting because in our lifetime, we've seen like the rise and fall of like cable TV moving to like all these streaming platforms. And then it was like, of course, people are going to have streaming platforms because it's so cheap. And now, like, all these streaming platforms are splitting up and they're doing their
It's
own
getting
things.
so
And
much
now
more
you have to have
expensive.
like you have to have like 5 to 10 platforms
Yeah.
to have all the things you want.
Right.
Like now it's not, I just kind of wonder if in that, if there becomes another rise of like going back to like the movie rental place
I
or,
think that's
buying a
been
physical copy, because it's like, well, I can spend, I thought about this because I have, Peacock is where like The Office is. And you got to spend like, if you really love The Office, you got to spend $5 to $10 to $15 a month to have that service.
yeah.
But it's like, dude, if I owned all the DVDs, it's like I can just watch them whenever I want,
Right.
and I don't have to pay
You
for
can go to
this.
the thrift store, thrift them, and spend like $2-3 to get a season, and
Yeah,
then you have it on DVD.
exactly.
Which I've found of that plenty of DVDs.
I'm sure they're
at
out
thrift
there,
store.
dude.
There are a lot of them. They're pretty
Yeah.
common one if you're hitting up the thrift stores
Yeah.
and stuff. But that's something that is part of the. I mean, I'm online on this movie talk and film talk, whatever you want to call it, like base everywhere on all of my social media platforms, right? So I'm a little bit like you're fed what you like. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
there's real that there's a growing wave of people my age that do want to get into physical media, do want to get into not just the records and the LPs and the
100%,
CDs that
yeah.
are kind of more trendy, but also it's becoming a little bit more trendy to go back to movies and DVDs if you're at least of your favorite movies,
Yeah.
at least of your favorite stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually that's the gateway to getting in, like I have.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're making a great point. Like, why am I paying for, you know, 8 subscription services to watch? Like, realistically, I'm only watching, a couple things on there or a couple episodes of a season or something. Why don't I
Yeah.
go rent or
That's such an
go to the
interesting,
library or
it's such
something
an
like
interesting trend we could go down of like how it is reverting to like, we want physical media. We want to like slow down more, be more
Yeah.
nostalgic, where like, yeah, all these companies, it's interesting. I mean, we could go on this for a while and I don't think
Yeah,
I
for
have the
sure.
answer, but like they're all pushing on like more and more tech. And I think tech is great, but like, I think we're getting so inundated with it that people
Yeah.
are like, hold on, I just want to breathe. Like, I just want to like
Yeah.
enjoy it like the old fashioned way.
And a lot of the nostalgia bait is around that too. And
Yeah.
even base of movies is like there's a lot of I think that's always been around, but now I'm just getting old enough to like really perceive it
Yeah, yeah.
and to see like, okay, first it was 70s when I was a kid, then it was 80s when I was like a teenager, and now people are talking about 90s and 2000s nostalgia, and like you're getting period pieces done in that setting. And
Yeah.
you've got like, I forget what it was. There's like some Taco Bell ad right now that's happening, and it's like, go back to the 90s at Taco Bell, and it's like
The old school Taco Bell.
school Taco Bell.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, this is crazy that like
We'll go back to the 90s
I'm
prices
not quite
then.
to where because I'm a 2000s baby, so
Yep.
technically speaking, even though I'm right at the start of it. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm like, kind of in Gen Z, but I'm also like, man, this is where we're at. Like
Yeah.
I'm getting older, sure, but like everything's nostalgia based and a lot of these things, and sometimes there's pros to that and sometimes there's cons to it. The pros that I think are that I think the DVDs and Blu-rays and 4K physical releases and things like that are that I think that they're going to continue to be
Yeah.
a niche hobby for a while, but I think they've got the potential like to come back in other ways. And I think that's also because I'm in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
it could, dude.
It's-
It really
it
could, dude.
could.
I was just thinking of the thing I haven't seen in a long time is like a DVD menu. I haven't seen that
yes.
in such a
Oh,
long
man.
time.
Yeah, because Redbox is like out
Yeah.
of business.
Yeah.
And
What's crazy,
Blockbuster's out of business.
I had a guest on here months ago. His name's Barry. He actually does this thing called like sandwiches of history now on
Okay.
social media. It's really
Cool.
cool. But I've had him a couple, like, he lives in California, but I had him maybe a couple months ago. But he was actually on like the original Netflix team, like way
Wow.
back in the day. I can't remember what his position was, but he was talking about how it's like, yeah, I remember like how we would send out the DVDs. Like you mail them to the house and like you get them for a couple way and you got to mail it back. And I
Yeah.
actually remember getting some of those like in the mail being like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And then like you would just ship them back and make sure it's in good quality.
Yeah, I don't know if we did that growing up, but I definitely remember when Netflix was going digital, and then my parents were like, "Oh, now this is something we can do."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay, cool. This is sweet. Look at all these movies you can see." And at the time, Netflix was the only place you could do that. Now, I mean, Netflix is still a giant in its own way, and there's like this whole thing that I was following a while ago, and I've maybe dropped out of it a little bit, but like the streaming wars and things like that are still going on. You know what I'm saying? Just like everybody's vying for The Office, or everybody's vying for their own personal streaming platform. Like Peacock didn't exist 5 years ago, but now you look at where it's at, and it's
well. And honestly, I know we keep saying that show a lot, but that was a huge loss for Netflix.
It was. That was like one of the pivotal moments, because The Office is big,
but it kept people on the platform.
And all of a sudden, I feel like that was for a lot of people the awakening of like, oh, Netflix isn't the giant they used to be, and now it's you have to have something for everyone. And that's, to me, this is the first year that I felt like that the NFL is finally really getting hit like that. Like it used to be like, oh, you go to somebody's house and you turn on a game, they're like, oh, is it Fox or CBS? And now it's like, okay, do you have the game? Can we go to your house? Can we watch this game at all? Because it's on Peacock this night. It's on ESPN or Disney Plus or Hulu, whatever is this night. It's on only NFL.
Dude, the NFL, that's a whole nother tangent.
Like
it's like frustrating now. It costs so much money to watch every game.
Oh my
I literally have had this, and if anybody knows this and you have my contact or you know the Instagram, like DM me. I just want to watch every Falcons game. That's all I want. And it seems like there's no way to do that. I don't think there's a possible way.
There's not one subscription you can have that can get you all the Falcons. Unless you lived in Atlanta and you had cable.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only way.
That's where like I think the only thing is to do like one of those VPNs.
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
that's what I would have to do.
That might be
and then like put myself in there so I can get
But you'd have to log into, but then is your Spectrum that you use to stream from, it's going to know your home location, so it's going to limit you, isn't it?
I really don't know how I would do it. That's I've never had one of the custom VPN things, but
that's crazy. Yeah. I think it works that way for like streaming services, but I think if you're doing cable, like at least the way that I know Spectrum app is, as I used to have it, was that it knows your home location, and even if you use a VPN, it limits you. So it's tough. It's tough to do that these days.
But I saw somebody post about it. It was like it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it is I think it's a couple $100. This is where we need somebody to fact check us, but it's like a couple $100 to like have all the games.
Yeah, there was a post that came across at the start of the season that was like you have to. It's way more expensive now just to be able to have all this. If you wanted to just for the full NFL season have every game to watch on all the streaming services, it's like 2 or 3 times the price of cable.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Wild.
Well, dude, hey, with the rest of our time, I do want to talk about this because I'm actually excited about this.
Yeah,
we both brought a couple of our favorite movies that we wanted to share and discuss. We could probably talk about this for a while, but we'll make sure that we cut out because there's an important game coming on here in a little while. But
we're good. I can say
you're good. Yeah,
I'm good.
No, we're good. So let's talk. I maybe it's this way. Maybe you do one, I'll do one. We'll go back and forth.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, maybe with one of your top. Like if it's hard for me too, but if I had to say like a top 3 of this is what I always just tell people. These are my 3 favorite.
Yeah. Well,
what's your first?
Gosh, it's a tough question. It changes for me regularly because I'm watching so many movies all the time that there's so many that vie for that top spot. And now at this point, I feel so attached to my top 4 on Letterboxd is what they have, your top 4. And I picked my top 3 here that I kind of had to cut one out that's been a little more rotating lately. But it's tough because you start to feel this allegiance to this favoritism, this like it's home and you go back to it.
Yeah.
But honestly, if I had to give my favorite movie of all time, like one that I'll rewatch, one that I recommend to people, it's Parasite. If you know Parasite, it's
I never saw it. I heard I didn't know if it was hype or not, but apparently it's good. It's really
good. Yeah. Well, I mean, and I'm biased because it's my favorite movie, but and I didn't see it when it was hype. I was not watching.
Came out what, 2 years ago?
2019.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
really?
It won the Oscar for Best Picture winner in 2020. So 2019's Oscar winner for Best Picture. It's the first ever international feature to win an Oscar from Korea. It's one of those movies you don't want to go into it with too much information. So especially since you haven't seen it, and also for anyone out there who hasn't seen it, I'm not going to talk too much. I don't want to say spoilers because I don't want to spoil it for you.
Okay.
And I think it's genuinely like one of those movies.
What kind of movie is it?
It's a suspense. It's a thriller. It's a comedy.
Yeah.
And most people don't expect it to be a comedy. The poster's a little bit intimidating. But I would say this is one thing that there's a little bit of a shift in there that you don't really see coming. So I don't even want to spoil what that is because the movie's great for that. It is, it's a Korean movie, so you're going to watch it in subtitles. If you're able to watch something in subtitles, then go ahead. I know some people have something like my wife. It takes a lot for her to watch a movie with subtitles. which I understand.
Yeah.
But it's
has to be good. Has to be worth it. Yeah.
She likes this one, which is big because she doesn't always like all the international movies I'm watching. She's like, I don't get this. It's amazing at a technical level. It's thrilling. This is something too that I'll say is, even if you're like, man, it's tough to get into a movie with subtitles, or like it won Best Picture. Like a lot of those movies that win Best Picture at the Oscars, like they're really pretentious or something like that. And I'll say Parasite's really unique and cool because there's a lot for somebody that's a film lover like me to really appreciate and get into and nerd out about. But it's super accessible for anybody that's a casual movie watcher too. I think the only hurdle that somebody from, like
is the subtitles.
Is the subtitles.
Yeah,
because it's really interesting. The general premise is that there's a poor family and a rich family, and the poor family and the rich family interact. And I don't want to say too much else other than that. And it's in Korea, and it's like, it's oh gosh.
Now I'm gonna have to watch it.
Please,
if there's a movie that we've both seen, we'll be okay with spoilers. We'll say whatever.
That's good.
But I'll hold on.
But I don't want to spoil that one for you because I'll have you over and watch that one on my TV.
That would be fun. Yeah, I'd love that.
I love rewatching that movie, obviously, but I love seeing people's reactions to it firsthand.
I think we have the same size TV, but one thing, like the surrounds, I've been wanting to get one of those for a while. The surround sound. The place that we rent right now, it's like an older house, and whoever lived there a long time, they did like the old school surround sound where there's literally like speakers behind you and
that's cool
in all the corners. Yeah, but they don't work. They've been gone for like a while.
But the ceiling and stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Nice. Okay, here's my. This is, I don't know, for some reason I feel like I hear this maybe like cliche or whatever. I mean, for some people, I think they say that this person, this director, just because it's like a big name or whatever. I genuinely love all of Quentin Tarantino's movies.
It's so hard to go wrong.
And I know he's just like a popular name, but like even
he's not
from
just
like
a popular name. I think. I mean, I'm not the biggest Tarantino fan, but I think he gets a good rep.
But I also love like
almost a bad rep the other way.
His thought process and his style and I think it's the care, intentionality, because if this is true and this holds up to be true, he plans on only ever doing 10 movies, right?
Yeah,
and he's done 9.
He's done 9. Technically speaking, Kill Bill is 2 movies, but he considers it 1.
Right. Yeah. So
and I am almost frustrated by it because we've gone 6 years without a Tarantino movie, and it's because he hasn't been able to settle in on his last movie.
Well, the last one was Once Upon a Time. Okay, sorry, I should say this too. The movie that I'm talking about is obviously it's Inglourious Bastards.
Yes,
it's
a great one.
It is the only movie in my life, and again, I was in college, so I had the time to do this. But me and my friend, we watched the movie start to finish, and we looked at each other and we said, "Let's do that again."
Wow!
And we watched the entire movie over again.
That's awesome.
And again, a lot of free time, had nothing to do, but
might as well.
But like we watched it again, and I think both times it's so intricately done that you get something that you didn't pick up. Every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, I never picked up on that.
Yeah.
Like I never caught that little piece of it. And we talked about this beforehand when we were chatting about our movies choices. Like, I love the way in which Tarantino, especially in this movie, there's not like a clear like main character. You're really following like the lives of many people through many different lenses.
Yeah.
And it all just kind of comes together at the very end of how they're all interacting together.
He's really good at taking fragmented pieces and bringing them all together. I talked a little bit when we were talking before about how he's really good at nonlinear storytelling, which he does quite a bit. He's really good at taking all these little pieces and bringing them together with different characters, different subplots. And I wouldn't say that that's like only for him, but that's just something he's really good at doing when it comes to writing a screenplay. And another thing and you talk about Tarantino as a whole, Tarantino doesn't take scripts or screenplays from other people. He writes his own. Yeah. He crafts his own stories. He takes his own characters. He writes his own dialogue, which is part of why people love Tarantino so much, is his dialogue is so quick and rapid and witty and snappy, and it comes off the tongue really well. Yeah. And it's like super entertaining the entire time, even if they're talking a lot like in Inglourious Bastards, because the dialogue is written so well and it's so of the characters. Yeah. And it makes the characters feel alive. And I'm not talking about any other director, because most directors don't do this, but you look at someone like Scorsese or even Denis Villeneuve or anything like that, like they're taking source material and adapting it all. Yeah. Tarantino is so attached to his movies and so attached to his creations that you're right. Like he's subscribed himself to this idea that he can only make 10 feature movies and
Yeah,
feature length
yeah.
movies, and he's gonna like stick to that because he thinks if you make more, then it's his opinion is that when you look at the great of the great directors, they've got after their first 10 movies, there's a drop off in quality, and they're just in
Yeah.
denial.
Well, dude, I do love, I feel like he puts in a lot of work. That's what I appreciate about all of his movies is
Yeah.
obviously with Inglourious Bastards, I feel like there's not, in that movie and any of his movies, there's not like a, like, oh, you should switch out this person for another person. I feel like he
Yeah.
casts so
So
perfectly.
well.
The only weird one for me in that, actually will say this, maybe there's
Okay.
one small correction is Michael Myers as the one random like British officer that's in that, like,
Okay.
Mike Myers or whatever you want to call him. Like,
Yeah.
it's so funny because I think it's just hard because he's known as like the comedy guy. And this
Yeah.
is like the one time where you ever see him like overly serious.
That's fair.
And so it's hard to not feel like, but then again, he also like throws in a lot of like comedy pieces in his movies,
Yeah.
you know, like even with like the killing of like the Nazis and all that, like
Yeah.
they're in a weird way trying to make it fun and like
Yeah.
humorous, you know?
It's so interesting how Tarantino has a knack for taking something that is gruesome or
Mm-hmm.
brutal
Yeah.
and making it entertaining and funny and lighthearted.
Yeah.
And,
And the absurdist of
the
it, like
absurdity of
the way he rewrites history in just like an
Yes.
absurd way.
he does that in
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He does that in
100%.
Inglourious Bastards
And Django Unchained and stuff like that. Yeah.
He's no stranger to rewriting something in history. And there's a couple of those too. There's some movies that's like a whole different subgenre of some people that have taken inspiration from, that have done a really good job with that as a whole too. And there's some good movies
For
to
sure.
talk about
All
for
right.
a while too.
You're number 2.
Oh yeah, it is my number 2, isn't it? Okay, so number 2 for me is I wouldn't say it's really underrated now, but it was underrated when it came out. Looking back, I don't know if there's a better movie that came out from 1989, and that is Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. I don't know if you've seen this movie, heard of this movie. Gosh, it's fantastic. It didn't get nominated for anything at the Oscars, which not that that's the standard for a movie, but it's when you look back at movies that came out that year and you're like, Spike Lee didn't get in for Do the Right Thing. It's crazy. It stars Spike Lee, but it stars so he acts as the lead in his own movie. Which typically speaking, by the way, in Spike Lee's movies, whenever he's self-inserted himself, he doesn't do a very great job.
But this one is
different, and he's really good at it because he's playing himself, honestly. So it takes place in a suburb in Brooklyn, or a suburb in Brooklyn. It takes place in on one street in Brooklyn. It's in the city, on one block, and it's basically like this. It starts out as a story of just this hood and all these people in it, and the whole block comes alive, and it's middle of like the hottest day in New York City and of the summer, and it's I would say like the hottest and sweatiest movie that you'll probably ever watch. It's very good at making you feel that. It's got a really good sense of place, and it's you really feel like you're on that street getting to know those people. It's all centered around this pizzeria in the town, so it's a pizzeria that's run by Italians in a all black street. So it's got some messages of gentrification. It's got some messages of racism that come into play. It's got some messages of police brutality in a way at the end too. And it turns into this, really important and imperative anthem for all of those causes. And these themes get to be really heavy. It's one of those movies I watched for the first time. I've only seen it twice, and it's my second favorite movie of all time. I watched it for the first time this year in February. I was doing a Black History Month challenge and was watching that, and I cried then. I rewatched it like this summer, and I cried again, even worse. And like it's just it's good. It's really good, and it's so cool too. And this is something that's similar to Parasite. Is it's got like a really potent theme and message that it's driving home. Parasites is different, but they both have those very prolific themes that are all scattered throughout the movie. But you don't realize that that's happening through the first at least half of the movie. You don't see that happening. But what Do the Right Thing does really well is even if you're along for the ride with these characters and just hanging out in this neighborhood and laughing at these characters' interactions, it slowly is like a really consistent and gradual boil. So the town is hot, but the whole town and the tension in the neighborhood is getting hotter from. There's the Italians at the pizza place. There's the African American Black people that are all in the street there, and then there's also an Asian couple that's got like a food mart like right across the street. And so it's like all these different then there's these, then they have like Hispanic people that come around the block too, but they're from the block next door. So it's like all these different tensions are rising from different races in the street, and it gets to be, I mean, then it eventually boils over, and it's really, really well done with care. It's really well done. It doesn't feel like shoehorned in there or anything like that. Like it's just,
man,
it's really excellent. So
dude,
I mean,
you're great. Yeah, you're great at describing these.
I hope I'm not spoiling too much of anything.
No,
that one you can walk in, and I think you should know what you're walking into because it's heavy. Parasite's a little easier on the on the heart, I guess. But do the right things up there for me. I love that movie.
Your movies are all like so deep and like well thought out. I feel like mine are all going to sound like very generic.
No,
like,
I love it. You gotta have,
but then again,
of that too.
I don't watch. I love movies. I just haven't watched a lot of movies in the past couple of years, and so this is inspiring me though.
I'm glad. If I can get you to watch a few more, that'll be a win.
Yeah. So my second one, and to give the backstory too, I think growing up, me and my dad would, and my family too, but mostly like me and my dad would. We just like loved comedy movies. Like it was honestly like also a great time. Like the 90s and like early 2000s were such a great time for comedy.
100%.
Like even a little bit before, like in the late 80s. Like I don't think that they're making good comedy movies anymore, to be honest with you. I mean, there's some here and there, few and far between, but the way in which they were churning them out in like the 90s and the 2000s, and some of them were very like cheesy. If you look back on them now, they're like, a lot of them were like, you know, ripped off of like not ripped off, they just were like SNL characters that came to life, like Wayne's World, which was another great one, honorable mention there. But like we were like the comedies like that, it was, I think the 90s was just like the era of Jim Carrey. Because I actually remember, did you ever watch In Living Color? Like the show?
I've seen clips.
Yeah. So I remember like having some of those like disc sets from Movie Gallery, watching In Living Color, and like Jim Carrey was like on there. It was kind of like
he was the token white guy.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, it was like another version of SNL, and he was kind of like the additional white guy there on the team.
That's how he got famous.
But he was so like absurd in that. And there was two movies, obviously Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura, that both came out in that time.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because we watched them so many times. The one that I'm have to go with is Ace Ventura being like just like a nostalgia movie for me. But this is one of those unique cases where I feel like oftentimes the sequel of a comedy is so bad. It's just it's just like recycled material and all this stuff. Now, number one wasn't great, but I really think number two was like
When Nature Calls.
When Nature Calls. I just think it was so funny and ridiculous, and the premise was just kind of like fun.
Yeah.
That it's like, it's my favorite for sure. Like if I had to choose, I'd go back and rewatch that one, just have a bunch of laughs. And yeah, I think that's my second. I don't know if it's my second favorite, but it's my top three.
That's great.
Yeah, maybe a little out of order here, but it's so like just fun to go watch, and he just does like stupid stuff you don't really see anymore, like in movies, you know. But
that's tough. Yeah, I really like that pick. The first one I've seen more recently. I saw the second one years ago before my whole movie kicked with Letterboxd and everything like that. So it's been a while, and I haven't seen it with fresh taste. So I've got to go back. You're gonna inspire me to go and see that one.
The first one's still good. That's that thing though, with like Dan Marino and all that.
It's got another football movie where you're like pretty excited about it. I just saw. Oh gosh, I just saw Him, which is a football horror movie that just came out this weekend.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
I just posted a video about it recently.
Not good.
I'm not a fan, and not that everybody's disappointed by it, but like as a football guy, as a former like college football player, like all these things, I'm like, it's very clear that they didn't. Not that everybody that was a part of that movie didn't understand football. Like some people, I'm sure did.
Not
but
enough.
The director
though.
didn't understand it enough.
Yeah.
Actually, the lead in it used to play college football for a little bit. So I'm like, okay, you've got your.
You could have helped. Yeah.
You could have. Oh yeah, you could have helped.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you've got your stripes though. Like that's fine. And Marlon Wayans is great in it. But anyways, this is a whole nother tangent on that one. I just am still a little bit closing and healing those wounds from that movie. If you want to talk about a good football movie though, that
dude, but I love his stuff. His movies are always, they're typically because that's what's his name, Peele, right? Like
Peele. He produced it. He didn't direct it.
Oh, okay.
So that's a common misconception actually about the movie too. A lot of people are expecting that. Oh, it's the newest Jordan Peele movie. It's not.
Not.
He produced it. He had very little hand in it. from a creative standpoint if you're just producing it. And he didn't even fully produce it himself. He like co-produced it with like 2 other people.
Oh, got
so
it.
Like
okay.
it's
his
not
his
not
name's
the
been
newest
attached to
tool.
it for sure.
And that's because it's purposefully with the marketing. And now people are realizing, oh man, Jordan Peele's washed. I'm like, that's not the Jordan Peele movie. So it's their own fault that they're doing that though, because they've put that out on all the marketing. Anyways, a good football movie is near and dear to my heart. We talked about the NFL a little bit. We talked about football movies. There it is. And my third movie is not a football movie, but
what is it?
It is probably the least serious of my top 3.
Yeah.
It's a movie that came out just last year, which is rare for me. It just came out. I watched it 7 times in theaters, which is crazy. It's my favorite. I would say it's probably my favorite genre, which is a horror, sci-fi horror.
Yeah. And
it's the newest Alien movie, Alien Romulus. I love Alien Romulus, and it came out with pretty good like reviews, and it's had overall good reception. But generally speaking, people are like, "Hey, Alien is back! Like they're really good now. We're excited for the next one." But they'd say it's like maybe the 3rd best Alien movie to the first 2. I think this combines my favorite parts of the very original Alien, and the second Alien movie, which is called Aliens. And it puts the best of both of them into this new, fresh thing. Have you seen Rogue One? With Star Wars?
Yeah.
So this is a little bit like the Rogue One of the Alien universe.
Got it. So it's kind of like a sub-story.
It's a sub-story. It's not the main line story. And it's actually set in the timeline like between the first 2 movies. So
interesting. I like when they do that. That's cool.
So it combines a lot of that in spirit and in the timeline that works so well. And there's a couple things in there that people have looked at. Like they use this, they use a little bit of, it's not even AI, but they use some CG to kind of like bring it to life, this other character in like this other way that works canonically, but is like almost like, why should we be bringing this guy back? The actor's not alive anymore. Like that's weird. Even though they took some like footage to kind of make it work, and they got approval from his family or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one of those things. So people were like kind of upset about that. Or there's was this part done as well? Every part about that movie, I walked out of it for the first time, and I'm like, there's nothing that I could have wanted better from that. And I will say,
am I wrong in saying is it called Prometheus? Is that
Prometheus
that part of
the Alien universe?
Okay,
that's a prequel. The first of the prequels. There's actually 2 prequels in the Alien universe that was made. There was Prometheus and then Alien Covenant. Alien Covenant came out in 2017. Prometheus was 2012. And then Romulus was like this whole separate thing. They were going to do a 3rd prequel to the Alien universe movies, but the second prequel, Alien Covenant, flopped really hard, and they took that one out. And those were both directed by the director of the original Alien movie, which is Ridley Scott. He's the producer he was the only producer for Alien Romulus. And then they had this guy called Fede Alvarez, who's he's got his stripes as well in the horror genre. Doing similar type movies, but he's got a lot more creative hand in that one. It really brings together.
I remember seeing Prometheus because I think that came out like 3 or 4 years ago, maybe like 2020. Maybe it was early. Maybe it was before then.
Yeah, it was 2012.
2012.
Yeah.
No way. Really?
Yeah. I can pull it up.
That's
too,
crazy.
Just to check, but I'm pretty sure it's 2012. I'll check it.
Dude.
I'll check it for you.
Yeah, time flies. I feel like then maybe I just saw it for the first time like maybe it was 2019 or 2020.
Yeah, 2012.
Yeah. Wow. Sheesh. Dude,
time flies.
Yeah, time flies, dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I remember that one. That's a good series, dude.
I love that series.
Now that
it's near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, now that I'm getting to my third one, my third and final, I should say I'm keeping these are like some of my favorite movies, and I'm keeping these out just because they are like I think everybody loves these movies. And I'm gonna say like my third one is a different one that's kind of off, but I'm a big fan of the Lord of the Rings movies.
Oh,
I love, dude.
Pick.
I've seen people who do like the Lord of the Rings, like you watch it all in a day and you have like the meals throughout it. I'm like, I want to do that someday. I think that would be so fun. And honestly, sometimes when I'm just having like busy, like, computer work days at work or whatever, I'll like put those on in the background. That's huge. It's just so comforting. So I love those movies. But the third movie that I'll do outside of the Lord of the Rings, and I think this is one you said you haven't seen. So I'm actually excited for you to watch this. It's called The Town. Yeah. The Town with Ben Affleck, Jeremy Renner. There we go. Yeah. Jeremy Renner is the guy who played Hawkeye. Yeah, he's in it. Dude, I can't remember the actress's name.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, pull it up. But the actress, I can't remember her name.
Rebecca Hall.
Yeah, everybody in it was really good except for what's There's another girl that's well known.
Blake Lively.
Yes, Blake Lively. Blake Lively was okay in that movie.
Okay.
It's one of those things where it's like, as it's a very Boston movie. Like there's some of those that you think of that just really portray the city of Boston.
Good Will Hunting. Those sort of
exactly.
things.
Yes, all those kind of movies. She kind of overdoes it. Like she has this like deep, thick, like Boston accent, and you kind of like, okay, maybe she's a little much, but she's not in the movie a ton. But the town is such a great, I don't want to spoil too much for you, but essentially it is this, like these guys who just have always been like, you know, on the wrong side of the law, but also they just feel like everything's always kind of been against them, you know?
Yeah.
So like, and it's partly because of like the area in which they grew up. Like it's kind of that mentality of they grew up in this place that's been kind of like, you know, looked down upon, and they kind of feel that. And so they take it on as a kind of coming back, and like they're, you know, career criminals and their career like robbing places and all that. And so long story short, like Ben Affleck's character kind of like, there's the love interest with the girl the bank that they rob, the girl who's like working as a teller there, and develops a relationship with her and goes through. But it's just such a good story of like, you kind of watch his character go from like hardened and not caring to like soften, and you kind of see that translation happen over the course of the movie for him being like, man, maybe there's a better life for me out there.
That's cool.
And he makes good decisions. It's cool to see, like, you kind of see, like, you kind of watch his character go from like, oh, I just have to make bad decisions because this is where I was born and raised and all that stuff, to being like, no, I could do something right here.
That's cool.
Yeah. And one of the best lines, I don't even want to spoil this for you, but there's just one of the best lines that I love in this movie is like, Ben Affleck gets frustrated. He comes in there and he sees Jeremy Renner's, like he like goes up to his apartment, sees Jeremy Renner's character, and he goes, hey, he's like, you're not allowed to ask anything, but like, I need you to come with me. We're getting in the car. We're going to go hurt some people or something like that. It's to the degree of that.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Renner goes, can I just ask one question? He's like, sure. He's like, whose car are we driving? And that's it. It's just like such a great line,
cool.
but the way he delivers it is like so good. But yeah, it's a great movie. And honestly, dude, I think Jeremy Renner is way better in that movie than any movie I've ever seen him in.
Word. I'm curious now to pull up his filmography.
Yeah.
Let me just.
I'm trying to think of all the movies I've seen
Obviously,
him in.
I know
he's ton of the Marvel stuff,
movies,
and he's definitely good in the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
But this is like, I think he portrays the kind of like down, like he's how do I say this better? He's like just kind of like the like tough character that's from like the, you know, rough part of Boston. He portrays that so well. But yeah, it's a really great movie. You should watch that one.
He's in Arrival. If you haven't seen Arrival, that's another sci-fi movie that you've got to check out. It's by Denis Villeneuve, the same guy who directed the Dune movies, Blade Runner 2049, Prisoners, a few other things. You should check out Arrival if you really like
this.
Jeremy Renner.
Dude, okay. I'm glad that we just talked about this.
Yeah.
This is the movie that I was thinking was Prometheus. I'm glad
really?
Yes, 100%. I'm so glad we came for a full
2016.
circle here. Okay, so it was more recent.
Yeah.
This is the movie because I remember that ship being there. This is a good movie, and he is good in this. He's a great actor. Yeah, I just think his thing in the town is like my favorite, dude. It's on, and honestly, that I see the town being on like cable still a lot, like every now and then. Yeah, dude, it's such a quality, such a great, like, I think probably my favorite, not that I've ever been to Boston or anything like that, but all the movies that kind of have that persona of a city.
Yeah.
Like it's my favorite of that.
It could be, and this is cool. I looked it up just because I had it open on Letterboxd. It'll show you what it's streaming or available to rent or buy on. It's not available on any of my streaming services. I don't know. I don't have every streaming service checked. But there's another reason, man. This is why the physical media stuff comes back. There's so many times I check on here and it doesn't say it's available where to watch. So you can rent it or buy it, but on Amazon or something like that.
You should find it, dude.
There you go.
Dude, if you
so
find
I might
it,
have to watch it.
I will for sure come watch that with you. I'd love to like experience that one with you. That would be fun.
That could be one I could find at a DVD thrift shop or something like that. 2010.
I bet.
I bet you I could find one.
I bet it's out there, dude.
Like that. Yeah,
I bet you could also find it at like
Amazon. It's
or even like
Amazon,
Walmart or stuff like that.
Walmart,
You know.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing too. Is Walmart's like the only one that's left physical. The only like big chain that still does.
Yeah.
Best
Target
Buy doesn't do
really.
it. Target doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
They do it online, but they don't do it in person.
So interesting, dude. Yeah. You got to find those like good mom and pop shops that have that kind of stuff.
Support the mom and pop shops. Yeah. Support the small businesses.
Last one, because we talked about this, and we'll wrap up the episode here too in a little bit. But an honorable mention of a movie that I've seen just in the last like 2 weeks.
Okay.
And it's the first time that I've ever felt like I watched the movie and I gave it a score of like out of 5, I gave it a score of like 2. I was like, ugh, okay. And then the next day I was like, wait a minute. Okay, now that I've given some time, this is like a 4. Is Friendship.
Yes, I'm so glad you're bringing this up.
It is such and we've both seen it. So if you haven't seen it, spoiler, you can cut off the podcast right now and you can go about your day. But it's just so Tim Robinson style to like, he's the goofy dad that's going to say the uncomfortable thing kind of style. And he's going to make you feel uncomfortable and not really give you the resolution that you want at the end.
The movie's great at making the audience feel just as uncomfortable as everybody else in the room with Tim Robinson's character. Mm-hmm. It's kind of jarring. I walked out of it, I saw it in theaters, and I walked out of it for the first time thinking like, gosh, what did I just watch? And I was the whole time throughout the movie, everybody that was in the theater with me was laughing. But I was like, this is really weird. Like some of this is these situations like there's no rooting for any of these characters.
100%.
Like nothing here is there's no person to get behind. Nobody's in a good moral stance in this movie.
Yeah, so different than, I know this isn't like always a great moral movies, but like even with like Inglourious Bastards or whatever, like you're kind of behind Shoshana or whatever her name is, or you're kind of behind like Brad Pitt's character and all this stuff. But in Friendship, dude, like for Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd, you're both kind of like, I don't like either of them. They're both kind of like,
them. I don't like Kate Mara. I don't like anybody in here. There's nobody to really get behind in that movie. And at the same time, I think I agree with you. I think everybody I've talked to that's seen that movie is like, once I slept on it or waited a couple days or something like that, I was like, that movie was really great.
It is. Because it's like Tim Robinson is such a polarizing actor, I feel like. Yeah. Because I Think You Should Leave, and I love Detroiters. I love the stuff that he's in. But it's not for everybody. I've heard a lot of people like that like comedy too be like, I can't stand him. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's not for, he does a good job of like, he brings out the funniness and like an uncomfortable part of a situation, you know? And so like, I feel like in that movie, you are trying to root for him. You want so badly for him to figure it out and for him to get it together and like he's got a friend now and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And he just keeps ruining it. Like every single time he keeps making it worse and worse.
Yeah. 100%. That you don't expect where the movie goes. Mm-hmm. You don't expect the scene where he takes, is it a cookie? I forget what it is.
Which one?
The scene where he trips.
He trips.
He takes like a bagel or some sort of something. He's like, oh man, this thing messed me up.
Oh, dude,
I don't remember what it is. I can't remember. It's been too long since I've seen it.
I'm trying to remember now. Dude, there are so many like interesting, it's so funny too, because like the things you remember in that movie are so like awkward. I remember what is it? Oceanfront dining is like the clothes he loves. It's OFD. He's like, oh man, I gotta go get some new OFDs. Yeah. He's like, what is that? It's Oceanfront dining.
He's super. I mean, given my job, I work at a school that's for students that are very neurodivergent. He's a very neurodivergent guy. Yeah. Movie. He's like very. He processes things differently. He's very obsessed with different things. You're like, man, this guy is so,
and you see that in his characters. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm not saying that necessarily Tim Robinson himself is that. He probably is. I don't know, but like his character in that movie for sure is got some unique characteristics about him. I love it. But
the favorite part that me and my friends who watched it talk about, because it's so like anticlimactic, but in a funny way, is when he does a trip on, like, he licks a frog. Do you remember that?
That's what it was. That's what I was talking about.
That's what it was. Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, that's the part where, like, he's rough. He wants something to, like, numb the pain, whatever. So he goes and, like, asks for all the substances. And he's like, I got frog. He's like, well, if you lick this toad. He's like, you'll have the craziest trip.
And he goes to Subway.
Yeah, and he goes to Subway for like half a minute.
He's like, that was the trip. He's like, how long have I been out? Yeah. He's like 12 hours, dude. And he's like, I went to Subway for like 30 seconds. That was my trip. Are you kidding me? He was super upset. He ripped me off, man. This is crazy.
The way he says certain things, though, are just like so funny because he's like, So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna do Black Forest ham. And he's like, ooh, okay. Like, but that kind of stuff is just so like, yeah, just
Going
the way they
crazy
say
with the
it.
Black
Yeah.
Forest ham. All right.
But dude, it is worth it. If anybody wants to go watch that movie, and we haven't already spoiled enough of it for you, it's worth watching. But just know that you are gonna be like, you're gonna be uncomfortable, and then the next day you're gonna be like, all right, I get it. I don't know if it's a rewatchable.
I think it is. Now that I saw it when it came out, I haven't seen it since. It's one I want to rewatch to see how
you feel now.
I feel now about it.
Yeah,
now that I've seen
knowing
it once,
the ending.
knowing the ending, knowing where it goes. It's definitely one that. But I rewatch things all the time, so I don't know about everybody's. But I think it's pretty rewatchable.
Yeah,
you're never gonna have the same experience the first time you see it.
It's. I think for me, it's one of those ones that it'll take a little bit of time.
Yeah,
like I'm not gonna rewatch it anytime soon. Maybe in like. I do have some friends who want to watch it with me, so maybe it would take that, like being with the right company. But yeah, it's such a unique movie, dude. But
that's very unique.
Well, dude, thanks, man. Hey, we I want to go ahead and like we'll in here, but dude, I'd love to kind of roll out the red carpet for you with 1 more minute left to just kind of share how can people be following you and your like posts, and maybe like share your letterbox and like your social pages before we head out here.
So I'm a little inconsistent on what is what on here, but my Instagram is actually probably where I get the most traction. That's Andy P. Roberts. If you wanted to follow me on Instagram, I post all sorts of videos and content and stuff like that, but that's also just like my kind of personal page. On TikTok, I'm Andy P. Rob. So it's like Andy P. Roberts without the erts. So it's just, it's abbreviated a little bit on there. And then if you happen to be a Letterboxd member and you want to follow me on Letterboxd, I also am very active on there. I watch at least a movie every day. I mentioned I've seen 453 movies this year, and I've seen over 1,000 since starting the app, and it's just like I'm on there all the time. My my username on that is D_Roo, ROO. So
cool. We'll put all these in the show notes too, so people can follow you, dude.
Go ahead.
Well, dude, Andy, thanks so much for being on the show, man. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. It was such a blast, man.
Thanks,
I hope I can be back sometime.
Yeah, we'll do it again soon. Cool.